We shall go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker to follow is Dr. Mahesh Kumar, who would be dealing on targeted investigations in field loss of neuro-ophthalmic origin. And Dr. Mahesh heads the Department of Neuro-Ophthalmology Services at Arvind Eye Care Systems at Madurai. On to you, Dr. Mahesh Kumar.
Good evening, and am I audible?
Yeah, you'll have to share your screen.
Yes. So, good evening, and I would like to thank the AOS ARC team members for having invited me here for this speak in this excellent webinar. So, the topic given to me is targeted investigations in visual field testing in neuro-ophthalmology. So the objectives of my presentation will be to highlight the various field testing strategies in neuro-ophthalmic disease. And specifically, I will not be discussing the visual field defects in neuro-ophthalmic disease in this short 6-minute talk. So, to understand, visual field is one of the four cardinal visual sensory functions, the other being acuity, color vision, contrast sensitivity, and visual. Needless to say, visual field is one of the most important among these four cardinal visual sensory functions. So, in order to understand the value of fields in the neuro-ophthalmology, we need to understand why at all we are doing the visual fields in neuro-ophthalmology. Basically, we would like to localize the lesion. We would like to localize it in one of the visual pathways wherever it is in the tract, in the radiation, or in the occipital cortex, or we need to lateralize the lesion, so either to the right side or to the left side. Very rarely do we need a quantitation of the visual field defects, unlike glaucoma. But specifically in two or three conditions alone, we might need a quantitation like idiopathic follow-up of cases of idiopathic intracranial hypertension, optic neuropathy due to thyroid-related orbitopathy, or when we are following a tumor progression, which are treated medically like pituitary adenoma. In these cases only we might need quantitation, and in several other instances, most other instances, we just need to localize and lateralize the lesion. So based on this, we will see what are the essential visual field testings which we can do in neuro-ophthalmology in the office setting. Confrontation, Amsler, kinetic and static. And confrontation is one of the most underestimated, especially in terms of neuro-ophthalmic disease. If a simple finger counting or a red target testing will detect more than 75% of the visual field defects in neuro-ophthalmology, because these are all very gross defects, and whenever there is a suspicion of visual field defect, always a confrontation field testing should be performed even before a formal visual field testing. And next thing is the Amsler grid. Traditionally, it has been taught that Amsler grid is mainly for macular lesions, but remember that a lot of optic nerve lesions, neuro-ophthalmic disease, also cause central vision loss, and a simple Amsler grid can also detect all these central visual field defects, like for example, a toxic optic neuropathy or even an optic neuritis, beginning when it can cause a central visual field defect. This Amsler grid is very useful. A routine kinetic perimetry like a Jerem screen or Goldman perimeter, which is very rarely found nowadays, a central Jerem screen, which measures the central 30 degrees, is useful for most visual field defects in neuro-ophthalmology, unlike when we suspect junctional scotoma, when we might need more peripheral field testings. So, with regard to automated perimetry, there is a fundamental difference between neuro-ophthalmology and glaucoma field defects. Remember that pattern here in neuro-ophthalmology, pattern rather than light sensitivity, as detected by the gray scale, is more important in neuro-ophthalmic field defects. And also, it's also important to keep the fields side by side, so as to detect the pattern, because we are in neuro-ophthalmology, we are looking at both eyes field defects simultaneously rather than single eye lesions. So always keep the right to the right side and left to the left side, and as the patient sees it, and detect the field defects. And in homonymous field defects, we need to look at usually 24-2 field defects would suffice, and in this instance, it's a incongruous asymmetric field defect suggestive of an opposite side optic tract lesion. And whenever we suspect these incongruous lesions, we know that the lesion is somewhere in the optic tract, and we need to do a neuroimaging for these lesions, and also perhaps detect the reason for these field defects, like if there is no history of trauma like blood pressure or hyper lipidemias or diabetic status. We need to look at these things. So you can see this asymmetric field defects, and the common strategies of automated perimetry are either 30-2 or 24-2. 30-2 is preferred, but there is a problem with patient fatigue, and 24-2 can be done in most other cases. 30-2 whenever we suspect a peripheral field defect. When is a supra threshold test preferred? Whenever we want to screen the defects, whenever we grossly suspect field defects. And in one study, the sensitivity and specificity of supra threshold defects, full threshold testing in
One
neuro-ophthalmology
minute,
was
Rohit.
very high, 87% and 85%. And whenever we need a quick testing or a mass screening, supra threshold test would suffice in neuro-ophthalmic testing. A regular full threshold test is done, like a 30-2 or a 24-2 is done whenever there is a high index of suspicion, and whenever we follow up the tumor growth, and whenever we are monitoring patients in idiopathic intracranial hypertension. A full threshold testing is done. So in this instance, we can see that a bitemporal, evolving bitemporal field defect, a threshold test, and obviously neuroimaging by magnetic resonance imaging is mandatory in these cases. And a full field testing, if it is done, will also most instances detect field defects. You can see a bitemporal field defect in this instance. So when is a central visual field testing strategy important? Whenever we we want to detect a central scotoma, whenever the patient's complaints are very vague and we are not able to detect the field defect in conditions like optic neuritis, toxic optic neuropathies like ethambutol toxicity, or whenever we suspect a Lubus hereditary optic neuropathy, when there is a sequential painless vision loss, we can do a central 10-2 visual field defect. Why this is more sensitive means because this assesses 68 points in the central 10 degrees, which is 5 times more than that of a regular 24-2 or 30-2. So this is a targeted visual field testing whenever we suspect all these conditions like toxic optic neuropathies or hereditary optic neuropathy. So in summary, visual field testing, where we have to target in neuro-ophthalmology by confrontation fields, an Amsler chart Amsler grid in case of a central visual field defect. A regular Jerem screen can be used for central scotomas or a homonymous or a bitemporal field defects. A Goldman for peripheral field defects, and most importantly, a Humphrey field defect, a 10-2 strategy for central or paracentral scotomas, a regular 24-2 or 30-2 for homonymous or bitemporal field defects or junctional field defects, and 120-120 field defects, full field defects for suprathreshold quick screening tests can be done in Humphrey or on any automated perimetry. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Mahesh. You made it a very simple and lots of learning in your talk. Of course, the advantage of doing a 30-2 is also you get your progression analysis and you can get more information. Murli, could you ask?
Yeah, I have a question for Dr. Mahesh and Dr. Rohit. I mean, is kinetic perimeter commercially available in India? I mean,
We don't know. We don't get it nowadays, kinetic perimetry, especially Goldman, Dr. Rohit. I know you have you have in AIMS kinetic perimeter being maintained well. Is that true?
Yeah, we are using a kinetic perimeter. It is available, but with difficulty. The problem is with the maintenance. Actually, nobody knows how to maintain it, so they may even arrange it for you. And major problem happens in the slight angulation changes in the light projection light system. So now we have tried to actually train our own technician to kind of find the zero error, correct it, and then start a field every time. It is available, but I would say now, of course, with so much automated perimetry going on, it is not easily available and maybe not cost for money in a general clinic.
Aren't you using Octopus Kinetic?
Sorry?
Are you not using the Octopus kinetic perimeter?
Yes, we have used the Octopus kinetic also. In fact, we compared the Goldman with the Octopus kinetic, either because our technicians were better, but we found understanding Goldman perimetry fields far better than the Octopus kinetic. But yes, that's an interesting machine, and yeah, short of a manual Goldman kinetic, the Octopus kinetic is also very can be useful.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a manual or can't maintain it, you do get used to it in time.
Right.
It has some advantages, the controlled speed and so on.
So thanks a lot, Dr. Mahesh Kumar. That